If you're a Beaver Builder page builder user, you're gonna love Beaver Themer. In this course, we're gonna explore all the cool stuff we can do with Beaver Themer. We're gonna start with the basics, like how to install Beaver Themer and get around the interface. And then we'll check out Beaver Themer's full site editing feature by setting up a custom header and footer. Beaver Themer lets us take full advantage of WordPress's dynamic nature. And what we're going to do is create a fake marketing blog together that targets different micro demographics. And Beaver Themer gives us a ton of flexibility on what kind of content we can display to the different groups of people that are accessing different parts of our blog. And this is all done dynamically, so it's super simple to set up. I can't imagine building a website without Beaver Themer. I love it, and I know you're going to love it too. The purpose behind Beaver Themer is to take advantage of the dynamic nature of WordPress. So for instance, a static site would be a site that was built one page at a time. And those pages don't talk to each other in any way. They just exist on their own. But a dynamic website, on the other hand, like a WordPress site, allows us to tag things and categorize things and organize things on a large scale. So that's a lot less tedious than having to build things one page at a time and go back and make corrections one after another after another. And Beaver Themer is built to allow us to take advantage of that. So the term theming in its simplest form describes stylizing a bunch of pages all at one time. And that is usually done through writing PHP. But what's great about Beaver Themer is you don't need to know how to write PHP. You can do it all with the drag and drop builder. So when I was thinking about how to put together this training, I stumbled upon this website, monday.com. And I thought, wow, this is a really good example of some of the things that Beaver Themer could do really well and easily. What they're doing is marketing to a bunch of micro demographics, and they have a bunch of unique headers and page types based on the micro demographic that they're marketing to. And you'll see here if I click on solutions and select one of the team solutions like marketing and creative, we have a unique marketing header. And same thing with sales. They have a unique header for all the sales pages off their landing page. And it goes on for all these different solutions that they offer. They have different unique headers and different types of landing pages for the different micro demographics that they market to. So what I've done for this lesson series is created a little case study that riffs on what monday.com is doing. So we're going to pretend that we have a scheduling app that is marketing to 3 micro demographics: HR teams, sales teams, and marketing teams. So the first thing we're going to do is create our header and footer that's going to be shown site-wide. And what's so awesome about using Beaver Themer to do this is we have a lot of flexibility on how the design is going to look, much more than a traditional WordPress theme. Then we'll create unique submenus for each of our 3 micro demographics. We're also going to create a call to action and put it on all of our sales pages. Earlier I talked about how WordPress pages are dynamic, and this lets us use something called field connections to display things like post author, post date, category, things like that. So we'll explore using field connections on single blog posts, and we'll also explore adding custom page parts to blog archive pages. One of my favorite things about Beaver Themer is how it integrates with WooCommerce. So we'll take a look at how to make a custom product listing using WooCommerce and Beaver Themer. If you don't have a development instance set up to work along with me, I encourage you to utilize the demo site provided at wpbeaverbuilder.com. Let's get started theming. There's quite a few placeholder post pages and pre-built rows involved in this lesson series. And I think it would be a waste of time to create all those things on screen because that's not what this is about. So I gathered up the course assets for you as an Assistant Pro library. Assistant Pro is a cloud sharing platform for WordPress assets. So it's some place where we can easily share things like posts, pages, media, theme settings, and that type of thing. So you can sign up for Assistant Pro from assistant.pro, or you can just follow the link to the course files and that'll take you to Assistant Pro and prompt you to start a new account. And once you have an account, you'll have the option to subscribe or duplicate the library. So go ahead and duplicate it. And now we're ready to move on to the next step, which is to get these files up on our WordPress install. If you want to work along with me and you're not able to set up your own sandbox, you have the option of using one of the Beaver Builder demo sites. But just a heads up, these sites are deleted every 24 hours. So when Assistant is installed on every page of the front end, you can open up the sidebar. For those of you working in your own sandbox, you can get the Assistant plugin from wordpress.org/plugins/assistant, or you can search for it in the WordPress repo on your site. Now back to the demo site. This here is called the Libraries app. So I'm just going to link it up to my cloud account here. Click on the Beaver Themer course files and then click this little gear icon up here. And I'm going to import the whole library. So now that that's imported, you can see all of this placeholder content in the library imported onto this site. And I'm just going to have to go back into the back end of the site to activate WooCommerce. And if you're working on your own sandbox, then you'll also have to install WooCommerce. So now that we have WooCommerce installed, the products tab has shown up and here's our product that is used on this course. Okay, now we have all of the placeholder content imported into the site. For those of you that are using your own sandbox, be sure that you install the Beaver Builder page builder. I'm using the Beaver Builder theme, Beaver Themer, WooCommerce, and Assistant. And that's it. We are all set up and ready to get started with the course. Let's install Beaver Themer. Before installing Beaver Themer, you should already have the Beaver Builder Page Builder Plugin Pro version installed, as well as the Beaver Builder theme or another Beaver Themer compatible theme. First, download the plugin zip file from your account page. From the sidebar of your WordPress dashboard, navigate to Plugin and Add New. Then upload the plugin zip file that we got earlier from your Beaver Builder account page. And be sure to activate the plugin. Before we start building out Themer layouts, I want you to be able to find your way around Beaver Themer. So let's look at where everything is. Navigate to Beaver Builder and Themer layouts on your sidebar. And this is where all your Themer layouts live. To create a new Themer layout, you can go to Add New up here at the top of the page. There's also a link on the sidebar. So I'll show you an example. Where it says Type, you always select Themer Layout. So there are a few different types of Themer layouts that we can create, and depending on which one you select, the next window will show you different options. So sticky and overlay are specific to creating a header, but locations and rules, those are going to apply to every type of Themer layout. The location dropdown gives you different types of posts and pages that you can add this Themer layout to. And you can select more than one location, or you can add exclusions. And down here, similarly, you can add rules. And this is all kind of mimicking how a developer would write PHP to theme a WordPress site. Now let's take a peek at how one of these themer layouts is going to look on the page. So right here, I'm going to launch Beaver Builder. And this is put together just like a normal Beaver Builder row with columns and modules on it. And that's how Beaver Themer works. It interfaces with the Beaver Builder page builder to let you put different page layouts on a bunch of pages at once. So here's a page that has a bunch of different themer parts on it. And this drop-down menu lets you select which one of the themer parts you want to edit. So I'm going to go ahead and click on one of them to show you what it does. Let's check out the main header. And this is the header that I've assigned to be on every single page on the site. Let's look at another one. How about the footer? And this is also on every page on the site. Now let's check out this call to action with the purple background. This is assigned to be on every post and page that is categorized as sales. Now let's check out the post body, and this uses something called field connections. Look in the heading module at those little plus signs inside the gray circles next to the heading and link fields. And those plus signs inside the gray circles indicate that we can use field connections, and that's what we're doing right here. We're using the post title field connection, so each post is going to post the title of that post up in the header right there. And you can see there's other modules up in this header that are using field connections as well, like this one down here showing post info. And when we're working on a singular layout like this one, there's an option to view themer modules, and these are all the modules that integrate with Beaver Themer. So these are all examples of themer modules. And this menu up here gives you the opportunity to preview these field connections as different posts. Well, I think that gives you a pretty good idea of what Beaver Themer is all about. So let's get down to the real fun stuff and start creating some themer layouts. Now we're going to create our site-wide header and footer. And what's great about doing this with Beaver Themer is we have so much flexibility over how the design is going to look. So we'll start by creating a new themer layout. I'm going to call this main header. And these other two fields are already correct. And we have some options for header layouts, and I am going to make this sticky. And I am going to make it shrink, but I don't want it to overlay. It's going to display on the entire site and hit publish. Now I'll launch Beaver Builder. And I'm just going to get rid of all this default content. So I have a saved row prepared with how I want the header to look. And here it is. I'm not going to go into too much detail over how the rows are built because we have a specific course on using the page builder, but I'll just give you the broad strokes of what it's all about. So here's a heading module, and I'm just going to toggle through the settings so you can see what I did here. And next we have a menu module. And you can see this is linking to the main menu that needs to be set up ahead of time from the menu page. On the far right, this is a button module. And these button modules are really easy to understand, and I think it's super fun stylizing buttons. You can make them look so many different ways. So that's the main header. Now let's add the footer. And just like the header that we just built, this is going to be on all the pages, and it's really great to do it with Beaver Themer because we have so much design flexibility. We can just build it with the Beaver Builder page builder. And this is going to be a really similar process to what we just did building the header. So we're going to select New Themer Layout. I'll just call this footer. And now we select footer down here on that drop down menu and add theme or layout. Now for location, we're going to choose entire site, and we can publish and launch Beaver Builder. And now I'll just delete this placeholder content. And now I'll add in that saved row that I created. And it looks like all these post modules have gone offline, so let's see what's going on there. And it looks like the categories are missing, so we just need to plug in those categories that you'll see the headers above the post modules. And this one's human resources. And now I'm just going to repeat the same thing for these other two post modules for sales and marketing. So now that we have that resolved, I'll just give you a quick rundown on all these modules. So here's the heading module. These are the settings. I'm using the same font as we have up in the header. That's Anton. And below that is a text editor. All these headings, human resources, sales, marketing, these are all text editors. I could have used heading modules. And you saw that these are all post modules. And under layout, I have the set to list view. And these post modules are really fun. There's so many settings to play around with. So especially if you do a lot of blogging, it's definitely worth playing around with these post modules. Well, that does it for our main header and footer. And next up, we're going to add some submenus. Now we're going to set up some subheaders for our different page categories, which are human resources, sales, and marketing. So let's start with human resources. I'm going to select new, Themer layout, and I'll name this one HR Pages Submenu. The type of Themer layout is part. This is where we select where we want the submenu to be put on the page. And I don't think it really matters a whole lot if we put it after header or before content. We just want it between the header and the content. So now we're going to set the location, and this dictates what pages our submenu is going to show up on. So I want it to be on the main HR landing page, which is under Solutions, Human Resources. And then I want it to be all of the child pages of Solutions, Human Resources. So now that we've dialed in all our settings, we're going to launch Beaver Builder and build out all the content that we want on this submenu. And in this case, I have a saved row that I'm just going to drop on the page with all of our content. So the styles here don't look quite right, and I could fix this on the page builder, but a better option for me using Beaver Builder theme is I'm going to go into the theme settings and fix it, and then it will look right on all the other submenus that I set up too. So I'm going to go to my customizer here up at the top of the page, and I'm going to navigate to the General tab, and under General, I'm going to Background, and I'm going to just make this plain white. Now I'm going to adjust also in the General tab the accent color, and I'm just going to make this a black color. Okay, we're all done with the human resources submenu, and we're just going to repeat that same process for sales and marketing. So first we create a Themer layout. We select the type of Themer layout it's going to be, in this case a part. We select where on the page we want it, and then we select what pages we want it on. And then we launch Beaver Builder and put the content on the page. going to explore using field connections on blog posts. So that means we're going to be pulling dynamic content onto our page, like the post title and post info and next post and that type of thing. Right now, this is what our blog posts look like. And I guess it's worth mentioning that all this lorem ipsum text was entered using the WordPress page editor, not the Beaver Builder interface. This is going to make sense when you see how these field connections work, because basically we're going to be pulling in content from the WordPress page editor and putting it onto the page with a field connection. So this is really cool. Let me show you how it works. As always, select New and Themer Layout. The type of layout we're creating is singular. So select Post, and we're going to stick here with all posts. And that looks good. So we're going to publish this and we're going to launch Beaver Builder. And I'm just going to take out this default header because we're going to add in our own. But instead of using pre-built content like I've been doing, I want to build this one out with you because that's going to give you a better idea of how these field connections work. See how this heading module has that little plus sign inside the circle? So these are all the field connections that we can plug in here, and you'll see those little plus signs on various modules, and that means that you can do this with those modules. You can plug in field connections. And I'm just going to stylize this a little bit. And this is done just how you would any heading module. And the only difference is we're using the field connection to pull in dynamic content. So same with the text editor. If we wanted to pull in a field connection using a text editor, we can do that as well. The same is true with buttons and button groups. Just keep your eyes open for the gray circles with plus signs inside of them, and any of those modules you can add field connections to. And the other way to add field connection content is here under Themer modules. So these are all Beaver Themer modules that will allow you to use field connections to enter content onto your site. So let's add a couple of these, tweak the settings around a little bit. And up here is where we can preview this field connection content either with lorem ipsum text under None or as different blog posts. So all this page content is available to you in the field connections modules. You can see there's the content area, and we have a author. I don't have any author information, but just my name and my gravatar. So we can just get rid of these things, and I'll show you how to add them back in. So when we navigate to Themer modules, all that stuff can be pulled back in. So here I'm just going to put the post content back in, and that's just a field connection that's being pulled in from your WordPress editor. So there's a lot of possibilities here, and we can also do these field connections on archive pages. So we're going to explore that in another lesson. One of the great things about WordPress is how it allows us to organize our content. And by default, we have a few different types of archive pages. The main one being our blog page, which is set in the customizer. And that just shows a list of all of our blog posts. But WordPress also automatically creates category archive pages, and you can navigate to those from your post category page. And also author archive pages, which can be navigated to from your users page. So let's go ahead and stylize our author archive pages with a Themer layout. And I'm just going to call this author archive, and the type is archive. And now we just need to set it up so that it displays only on the author archive pages. And now we'll launch Beaver Builder to set up our content. I'm going to create a header, so I'm going to delete this one. And I'm going to add a couple of heading modules and put a field connection in one of them. And the field connection I'm looking for is author name. I don't want to spend too much time stylizing this, but I'm just going to tinker with it a little bit. So the second heading module, I'm not going to put a field connection in it. I'll just say author spotlight. So I'm not going to bore you with my design tinkering. I'm just going to cut straight to this, which is what I landed on for the design, because I'm trying to avoid doing too much page builder work in this course. I want to focus mostly on Beaver Themer. We can also change the layout down here of the post. This is a posts module. And there are so many settings available on these post modules. So I'm going to go with columns, and I like it when all of the heights are equal. Looks nice and tidy. So sticking to our ongoing motif, I'm going to create unique headers for the archive pages of pages that are categorized marketing, pages that are categorized human resources, and pages that are categorized sales. We're going to start with human resources here. And this is an archive layout. The one we want is post category archive. And human resources. And I have saved rows that I'm going to use for these things. So now we'll just repeat this for the next two categories, sales and marketing. And since you've already seen me do this, I'll just hit fast forward. And just like the author archive pages, that post module that you see the post summaries in can be tweaked to look a bunch of different ways. And you can add any other modules to these pages too, like you could add photo, video, buttons, whatever you want. Just like the submenus that we created earlier, the next Themer layout we're going to create is going to be a page part layout. And in this case, we're going to create a call to action that appears on any page, post, or archive that has to do with sales. So we have 3 pages that pertain to sales: the overview page, testimonials, and case studies. We also have a few blog posts that are categorized as sales, and we have our blog archive page, which is the sales category. So let's fire up a new themer layout. And the type for this one is going to be part. When we're creating a part layout, we get all these choices of where we want to stick it. So I'm going to stick this before the content. The first thing I'm going to do is assign it to all of my posts that are categorized as sales. Now I'll assign it to my sales post archive page. Now I'll assign it to the main sales landing page and the child pages to our main sales landing page. Now I'm going to launch Beaver Builder to build out the content that I want to be in this page part. And in this case, I'm just going to be using a saved row. So let's see how this looks. All our pages look good. I'm going to adjust the header to the singular blog post to give it a little bit of space between the call to action and the header. And that looks good. Let's check out our sales archive page. Great, I think this is looking good. I love how Beaver Themer integrates with WooCommerce. In case you haven't used WooCommerce before, I'm going to put this into context for you. This is how Woo product listings work. You enter all the information on the back end, and then it spits out a product listing for you. So design-wise, that's really limiting, and they do offer shortcodes, but there's a limited amount of things that you can do with the shortcodes. And before I started using Beaver Themer, I'd find myself writing tons of CSS to try to get my products to look the way I wanted. So here's how it works. Create a new Beaver Themer layout. This is going to be a singular layout. Now we'll assign this themer layout to all of our products. Now we'll launch Beaver Builder to create our layout. So Beaver Themer's put a little bit of default content in here, and this is just a row with a background image that features our featured post image, which is what WooCommerce calls the product image. So I'll just get rid of all of this default content and we can put our own custom stuff in here. So you're already familiar with field connections from previous lessons. So that's just how Beaver Themer works with WooCommerce. And you can see all of these WooCommerce field connections available to us. So Beaver Themer is pulling in the data that it's finding on the back end of the site that you enter into your WooCommerce product. So that description that we just entered with a field connection, this is what it looks like on the back end. So this gives us a lot of flexibility over what our design's going to look like, which is really cool because it's so easy to do. And I'm keeping this really simple design-wise. But if we went on to stylize this, we could make it look really beautiful with different background colors and button colors and spruce it up. And that's what I love about the Beaver Builder page builder. It's so easy to create really awesome custom designs. So this singular layout that we've created is all about field connections. And we've set it up so that all of our products are going to pull information from the back end and spit it out on the front end. But we can also customize different products by adding part layouts. So let's do that. I'm going to create a part layout that only points to this one product. So I think I'll put something down near the bottom of the page. And this is where we say we only want it on this one product. But just like we did on the post, we could narrow it down to a certain category of posts or posts with a certain tag or other criteria. So this could be a section with some extra images or a post module or maybe an accordion module. I'll just do a button group here. And I just want to center it real quick. And there's our part layout, just only on this one product. Now keep in mind that you can also stylize WooCommerce archive products the same way that we stylized our blog post archives. So we have a main archive page, and that's our shop page. And we also have archive pages for each category of products that we have. And for this demo, we just have one product and it's categorized as a calendar. So let's do a theme or layout for all of the calendar products. So this is exactly how we set up our blog category archives. And as we've seen in past lessons, we're going to get these default modules with field connections inside. And I'm just going to change this to columns. We're just going to see one product though, because I only have one product in here. So to navigate to these archive pages, you can go to products and categories. It's all very similar to how blog posts are organized. So that's the heading, field connection, and our posts module. Well, I hope you've enjoyed this lesson on Beaver Themer's WooCommerce integration, and thanks for watching.